Hi, my name is Beth Hiley here for Board Game Geek, and I'm sitting down with Blažej Kubaski of NSKN Games.
Perfect. Hello.
I know,
nice
right?
To
I have to make sure I get all the letters in. And today you've brought us Mistfall.
Yes, Mistfall is actually a game I designed, so there's an extra pleasure in this for me. Thank you very much. It is what I like to call a thinking person's adventure game because it is a game about questing in a dark fantasy universe in a very snowy and a little dark place, but it's also a game which is very deterministic. So let me quickly tell you what goes on here.
Excellent.
The game is quest-based, and every time you set up a game, it's set up semi-randomly. The quest guide, you will choose the quest. From the quest guide, you will choose one of the bad guys you're going to face, and we have 4 different ones here. So when you choose, you also set up the locations. The locations you see here are face up, but they mostly start face down. Mm-hmm. So it will tell you what types of locations you shuffle together and create a grid the party will be walking around.
And that's totally random regardless of the quest you're doing.
In a way, because it sometimes tells you to put a specific number of locations of a given type. There are 3 types of locations. I probably should also mention that this is a fully cooperative game, so we are always fighting together against the quest. And the quest is tracked using this quest charter here.
Yes, my quest charter.
Exactly. So we're playing against time, basically. Every turn, a little more time will pass, and if we reach the end, this is exactly what it says on the tin. It is the end. And basically, so what happens during the game is the heroes will move into a new location. Every location has its own little rules. When they move into a previously undiscovered location, which is called a perilous location, they will go through encounters, and they will look for an encounter that shares a keyword with the location they're in. The encounter will tell them how many and what type of enemies to set up, and they will have to fight those enemies. Now, and there are 3 types of enemies. We have the undead, we have basically some evil humans, and we have the beasts and beastmen here. Now, every hero consists of 2 decks of cards. One is the deck they start with, and this one is basically what happens is that we get some of the cards in the beginning. Every hero tells us this. I don't know, maybe I should move it a little bit.
Here, actually, I'm going to put it in the middle.
Exactly. So everyone starts with a few cards, and afterwards shuffles the rest of their deck and just draws some of the cards randomly. So they would be drawn from this. However, everyone also gets, oh yes, of course, I shuffled the wrong one, so this would be shuffled.
There we go.
Yes, and everyone also gets a stack of cards, which is completely open, which they can buy during the game. Now, what's really important is you don't pay for playing cards. You play, in a way, as many as you want to, but the moment you play cards, a resource called enemy focus goes up. And as it goes up, it can do unpleasant things. It can move the reinforcement track, which will bring on new monsters. It can make some of the enemies angry, which will make them attack you immediately. Now, every hero gets their own hero turn. Usually, if you manage to dispatch of an enemy, you will get some resolve, and resolve is used to buy these cards.
Aha.
The cards go directly into your hand, so you can use them immediately. Now, after each hero has their own turn, the enemies get to go, and they attack. Whenever you're attacked and you are unable to cancel damage, you have to move some of the cards from your discard pile, from your hand, or from your deck into what is called a burial pile. And if everything you have goes into the burial pile, you're done. And the quest is done, and everyone else is done, unfortunately, as well, because it's a fully cooperative game. Now, one very important feature, I think, is that when you get to heal, you put the cards back into your deck, but the deck is only shuffled in the beginning of the game. As you put them back, you put them under the deck in the order you choose. So if there is a combo you specifically like, and you'd like to do it again, just stack the cards the way you want to, so that you draw them the way you want to. Every single character, we have 7 different characters. Every single character has their own little deck. So every single one, and these are, in a way, these are archetypes you will meet in many fantasy games. So we have a seeker, which is a nice name for a thief. We have a shield bearer, which you might know as a warrior from other games. So he's basically the person who can take a lot of punishment and protect others. We have the mage, the glass cannon. We have a raging barbarian, the Raven Crag Fury. We have kind of a mystical, it's an Arcanweave archer. It's a guy who shoots arrows but also imbues them with magical energy. And we have the oldest of the party, who is a frost mage, so he can do unpleasant things to the enemies.
And a cleric.
And we have the cleric. The cleric is the master of protection and probably one of the most versatile characters in the game itself. Now, after the defense phase, what happens? It's also one more thing is also important. Every encounter, as you can see, it has a lot of text. This is because every encounter has its own little rules how to successfully end it. And when heroes are able to end it, it usually happens that you have to do something in order to put what is called objective tokens on. When the number of objective tokens is reached, when the number given by the card, and the number is also dependent on the number of players, you finish. And afterwards, you get some rewards and you get to go on. You make the location safe, you get to rest a little bit, and every location has its own rest factor. Every hero has its own rest factor. We add them together. This is how many cards will come back from the burial pile into our discard pile or under our deck. Now, at the end, we draw a time card from this deck, and the time card will tell us how far we move on the time track.
That's our master clock there.
It may also tell us of some unpleasant events we have to deal with together. And this is basically most of how Mistfall is played. Like I said, there are many. We have a pretty nice thick deck of different encounters. We have three, not one, not two, but three thick decks of enemies, each with their own strengths and weaknesses, each with their own special abilities. So there is a lot going on. And of course, we also have, items. We have rewards for heroes. So when you get to draw some cool new items that can help you. So there is a lot from the classic adventure game, but also what is very important is that when you're in a sticky situation, if you think of a way to get out of it, killing something, getting some resolve, buying a card, putting it in your hand immediately, nothing will stop you. If you can think it, you will be able to achieve it.
Well, I think worth mentioning that this is, because it's cooperative, it's also playable for solo, for one.
Absolutely. Some people say it's difficult with one player. It is a little difficult, but I played each of those characters alone, and each of them finished the quest. So you can do this. Sometimes it's a little more difficult, but you can definitely do this. And I think it plays pretty well. So.
And max players up to 4.
Up to 4.
What do you think a full 4-player game, how long would that take you?
This might take a long time. This game has a learning curve because you get a lot of those advanced cards you can buy at any time. So sometimes you will be going through them, but when you know what your character is doing, when you know what your character is good at, I think it's something like 90 to 120 minutes with a full complement of 4 players.
All right. Well, Błażej, thank you so much for bringing us your game, which is Mistfall.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you.